Sixth grade. I hope you guys are having a good time and that you're learning a lot, but having fun with your families. But I do miss you. I would like to see you more. I had a couple people, well, one person asked for a video conference. And if you guys would like to, I would love to, but I just want to make sure I have a lot of interest. And I have office hours, so if you guys ever want to get on and just let each other know you're getting on and get on and chat with each other during my office hours in that Google Classroom, that would be totally fine. Just talk to me and let me know. So this week, we are going to talk about checks and balances within our government. We've talked about all three branches, so now it's time to go a little bit in depth of how they balance each other out so one person or one branch of government doesn't get too much power. So first of all, let's talk about making laws. We've learned that the legislative branch writes the laws, and you guys know this because you wrote your bills. We also have the executive, which enforces the laws, and the judicial, which interprets the laws. However, the executive branch, as you notice, can veto bills written by the Senate, right? So they write and pass a bill in the legislative branch. It goes through both houses, and it gets in front of the president. He has the choice whether to approve it and just, mark it, and it becomes a law, or he vetoes it, which means pretty much he said no, and it has to start over again. So that's an interesting part of legislation, is that the veto gives him power over the legislative branch. However, if he could just continually veto bills, the legislative branch wouldn't have any power. So there is an option for them to override the president's veto. If they send it back through, get enough votes, it can overrule a vetoed vote. Now, going on from there, let's talk a little bit more about the different powers in each branch to keep the others in check. So beginning with the legislative branch. So yes, if they pass a bill, it can be said no to by the executive branch. Also, if the executive branch approves it and it becomes a bill, the judicial branch can then come in and say, nope, neither one of you can approve this bill because it's not constitutional, so we're taking it down. Right? And they can make sure that they're all following the rules and following the Constitution. So because of that, the legislative branch, as you see, can do a few things. They approve presidential nominations. That means that if someone is going to become president, they have to approve them first. They control the budget. Who gets money? Impeaching the president, as you guys saw this last year. With President Trump, he was in fact impeached. However, the legislative branch also has the power to remove him from office, and that did not happen. So we were able to move on from that. But that's how they keep the executive branch from having too much power. So continuing on, the executive branch, if they need to give an order, and it's important and it needs to happen now, it's an executive order, and he doesn't have to go through Congress, right? That gives him some power over them. So he can proclaim a law and it has to be enforced. However, this is only used in cases of emergencies, and the judicial branch does have power to come in and declare those acts unconstitutional, meaning they don't count. He can't do that. So he has the power to put them out there, but if they don't follow the Constitution, the judicial branch will put an end to it, and that keeps the executive branch in check. Now, the judicial branch, as we've covered a few times, interprets laws. They make sure everyone's following the Constitution for both the executive branch and the legislative branch. However, to keep them in line and make sure they don't get too much power, the president has the power to nominate judges. So if someone dies or retires within any of our courts, district, appeals, or the Supreme Court, he nominates someone to replace them. So in the Supreme Court, he chooses who goes in there and replaces. And that makes sure that he puts in people who he either agrees with or who thinks will do a great job, and it keeps them in check. Now the Senate confirms presidential nominations for the Supreme Court. So that makes sure that the president can't put in just who he wants no matter what. People who will just agree with him, because then they can gang up on Congress. So Congress has to approve who he nominates. Also, if those judges are not following the Constitution, they can impeach a judge and vote to remove them from office, just like they do the president. So we have three branches: executive, legislative, and judicial. They all work together to balance each other out, and if one doesn't follow the laws, they have powers to stop them. I want to look at this a little bit more with the Watergate scandal with President Richard Nixon. I've included a reading for you guys to look at and some questions to answer, and let me know if you guys have any questions of your own. I would love to help you. We'll talk to you guys later.